second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And as we have been looking at, so we have completed more or less the mantras where he has introduced that nature of Atma, the nature of ourself, our true essence has been introduced now. So now, as we know, in this situation, what is the situation is Arjuna is being Arjuna is conflicted whether or not to fight the battle. So, in order to gain that proper understanding, he has asked for the teachings from Krishna. So, all his life he knew Krishna, but at the same time, he never saw him as a guru. He saw him as just a friend or just a relative. So now he realizes that, I should seek that guidance from Krishna on what I should do, what is the right thing for me to do. So that based on that, he has started giving the teachings, and the Lord decides to start at the highest level, give the pointer to the ultimate reality. What we say is the teachings in Vedanta and other things. But Bhagavad Gita, as we know, is a combination not just of Vedanta, but also of yoga and other practices involved. So also, sometimes people ask this question. So according to Vedanta, how do we interpret Bhagavad Gita? According to Bhagavad Gita, according to yoga, how do we interpret Bhagavad Gita? So we should not look like that. We can use the methodologies from yoga and Vedanta, but Bhagavad Gita by itself is a text to be learned in its purity. So we are not for studying here, just like Vedanta, or we're not studying yoga. We are studying Bhagavad Gita primarily. Okay. So by learning Bhagavad Gita, in order to learn Bhagavad Gita, we are using some of the methodologies and pointers of Vedanta and yoga primarily. So this is one of the things that we should always keep in mind. Bhagavad Gita is to be learned for its own sake. We are not studying Bhagavad Gita just because we want to study Vedanta or just because we want to study yoga. Bhagavad Gita by itself can lead us all the way to moksha. So that is the why we are studying that. Okay, so now that after having pointed that Atma, in the mantra 29, the Lord said, this nature of Atma is such a wonder, meaning it is such a marvelous thing that, even after hearing about it, even after experiencing it in that, getting a glimpse of it, yet it remains a wonder, meaning yet it remains something that is not completely objectively known. The word ascharya, which Shankaracharya, what we are translating as wonder or marvelous, Shankaracharya has mentioned ascharya is something not seen, something strange, or something that when akasmat, you see all of a sudden, and then you get astonished, so that is what is meant by here. Partly we discussed again, it is like when we lack the confidence and the earnestness, we have a lot of other occupations, so we don't really try to make an effort also to know about the Atma. We don't believe that it is the solution to all our problems. We feel there are other solutions we have to seek. So we'll keep on going round and round like that. So as they say, like if in oceans sometimes there is this thing called rip currents, they say, like when the waves are coming, there are some currents which are pulling you in. So if you're gone in, then it will start pulling you in, So similarly, we are like caught up like that in the samsara. What is the rip currents doing? We dive in, and then what happens? The loop of current is taking us inward, inward, inward. So if you try to fight backwards, you suddenly feel I'm facing the current. It is going against the current. This is what many times people say, samsara is like going against the current. So the reason that is because we are caught up looking for solutions in that samsara itself. So like as I was saying, when the rip current comes, if you try to face it, they say, you cannot escape that way. There is certain techniques apparently. I'm not skillful, but I've just heard this, people say that you cannot go head on backwards. You have to go sidewise, or you have to go like that. So there are skillful ways. And that is the skillful methodologies. Here is what Bhagwan is going to teach us. Yoga karma kaushalam, meaning it is being skillful. What is yoga? He says is yoga is skill in action, meaning being skillful in our actions, being skillful in all our transactions in the world. So that is yoga, he explains. Of course, also we say we need the grace of the Lord and the gurus to help us come out of the samsara. Okay, so having introduced that, he concludes in that mantra 30. After that, explaining about that, how it is astonishing, he now points to that mantra 30. In the mantra 30, he says, Dehi nityam avadyoyan. Dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitumarhasi. We chanted this last time. That Atma, the one who is embodied, that self which is embodied in the Dehi. Nityam avadyoyam. It is eternal and it is avadya, it cannot be destroyed. Dehi sarvasya bharata. Why cannot be destroyed? Maybe let us say this Atma is in one body and we destroy that body, and that one Atma, let us say, is also died. But this nature of Atma is, it is the one thing in everyone. Dehi sarvasya bharata. In everyone there is that one Atma. It is not like one Atma in me, one Atma in you, and this Atma of mine is separate from this Atma of you. That is not the case. There is only one Atma in all of us. So if, for example, if you somehow succeed to destroy that Atma in one person, of course it is not possible, but hypothetically, even if you take that, then also you cannot destroy that Atma, because it is all pervading in everyone, in everything. So this is what we say, there is that one consciousness. Of course, from the yoga perspective, we say sometimes there are individual consciousness, but from a real deeper understanding, it is a individual jivas, not the individual consciousness, individual subtle bodies all of us have. That is what makes us personality characteristically different. So, and not just in bodies, let us say you kill everyone in this world, but not, it doesn't end. Shankaracharya says it is also, this Atma is in all trees and plants and aquatic animals, birds, everywhere. So it is not possible for us to destroy forever. And it is all, as the mantra says, Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani, in all beings, in every conscious entity, a small worm somewhere, a fly somewhere, it is all pervaded by this Atma. Natvam shochitu. So he concludes this topic now. What is the topic on the discussion? You should not grieve for the death of your relatives, or for yourself or your family, anybody. Why? Because you cannot kill this Atma. Whether you take at the level of Atma or Sharira, you cannot kill it. So that much he has now. Now he shifts the teaching. He comes back to a little bit more relative teaching, practical teaching. Until now, he was talking about Atma. Now he shifts to what is called as Dharma Purushartha. So some of us may be familiar with this. There are what we call as the four Purusharthas, meaning the four things. I mean, many things, but all our seekings in the world are classified under four things, which we call as Purusharthas. Purusharthas means Purushai Arthayati iti Purusha, meaning that the one that is meaningful for that individual. For anybody, something that is meaningful, which they seek after, which they spend all their time, energy pursuing, the goals that men and women seek after. That is what is Purushartha. And this is classified under four categories in our Shastras. Anybody familiar? What are the 4 Purusharthas?
Is it Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, the classification?
No. Somebody else?
Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha.
What is it? Dharma, moksha, and then what else?
Artha, Kama.
So generally when we say it, we see dharmartha kama moksha, we say, but it can also be said as artha, kama, dharma, moksha in order. So what is this? I will briefly explain. At some other point, we will discuss more into this. Artha Purushartha. Some people in the world are more interested in seeking material things. Material things, possessions, lands. They want to hold things. They want to have more cars, more land, more properties. They want to have a house every place. They want to have in some small island also. They want to have a home. So this is a pursuit of Artha Purushartha. At a basic level, all human beings need some degree of it. Every human being needs some degree of what we call as the in Hindi it is roti kapda makan. What do you say? Food, shelter, and clothing. Everyone has this basic need: food, shelter, and clothing. It's a common need of it. But when this itself becomes an obsession, you want to hold on things after things. You want to keep on lots of possessions. Is how much does one person need? As a famous poet said, all that a person needs is a 6 feet land. Meaning, like when you die, that not to bury that person, you need that much. But let's say you leave also, you need a house, you need a place, you need a fairly enough for your family, everything. But that is a need. But the desire is what you want to hold on more and more and more. You want to have 10 houses, 10 cars. So these are all the obsessions people have, right, in the world. So that is the pursuit of Artha Purushartha. Then there is Kama Purushartha. People are seeking pleasures, some joy. So even like a great sportsman, now whatever is going on, Wimbledon or something, right? So they want to become the Wimbledon champion. Then somebody wants to become the soccer champion, or somebody wants to climb the Everest. So these are all like passions, right? People are seeking passions or some pleasures. This is what we call boga. People want more and more pleasures, more and more. Sometimes there is an egoic thing, not just the pleasure of a going to some place and having good food. That also may be somewhat exempted. There is a natural desire or need for person to have food. And so, okay, you might enjoy some food. But sometimes what happens, people are seeking cuisines after cuisines, and they're seeking more and more pleasures. But that is one thing. Then there is an egoic identification with that. When somebody wants to become a famous actor, what is it they are trying to say? That they are the most beautiful, most um, talented, most skillful person in the world. So that is a Kama Purushartha. So our Shastras, what is it doing? It is trying to shift people at the basic level from the pursuit of these two, from obsessions from these two, to the Dharma Purushartha. So everyone is asked to, all religions, in fact, not just our Shastras, all religions you take. In Christianity, it is the 10 Commandments, right? So you have to follow those things. That is living a righteous life. In the Yoga Sutras, it is the Yama Niyama, following the do's and don'ts. Niyama, the do's, and the Yama, the things that you should abstain from, killing, stealing, and all that. So this is Dharma Purushartha. But here it is, what does Dharma Purushartha do? Dharma Purusharthas make you internally peaceful. You will have less bondage of karma. you will have good environment, good people, you will find a teacher, you will find teachings. So all this is when somebody is following the path of dharma, and internally also the person is more at peace and harmony. So that is the eligibility for somebody to seek moksha. The final Purushartha is Moksha Purushartha. So when the moksha means that liberation, freedom from samsara, freedom from the cycles of birth and death, and most importantly, freedom from all sufferings. Moksha means it is atyantika dukkha nivritti, freedom from all kinds of suffering. So this is the four Purusharthas. So now what the Lord is going to talk about is, until now he was talking about moksha, how you can become free from all sufferings, how you can be eternally free. Now he is going to shift to that eligibility for that thing. So even for a moksha purusharthi, a person who is eligible to seek self-knowledge, to seek liberation, even for that person, dharma purushartha sometimes is useful. Otherwise, what happens? That knowledge or that respect for the teachers and the teachings will not be there in that person. He will become egoistic, and again he will fall into samsara's trap. So that is why, the path is very insidious. So as it was mentioned in the Kathopanishad, Shurasya Dara Nihita. So that path, that spiritual path is like a double-edged sword, Shurasya Dara. So to walk on that, double-edged kind of thing. So we think like, okay, we got the teachings, we are free. And this is also sometimes with all sadhakas, with ourselves, we have to monitor. And I see with many students also. After we start getting a little teachings and we start figuring it out, we start getting pride. And we forget that all the respect for the tradition, the teachings, and we think, okay, I can figure it out. So this is where, that we again fall into that trap. So that is why, in general things, what is required for all students, sadhakas, is to be involved with some degree of seva, some degree of, regularity, some taking retreats. All this is very important, so that we are realigning ourselves. If you're not following a proper tradition, a teacher, um, at least not able to do seva, but at least ideally seva is ideal. But if you can't do that, then at least some degree of, monitoring this, what we call the pancha yajnas. Every grihasthas are supposed to do pancha yajnas. Grihasthas means everyone who is living a normal life. So pancha yajna is that you have to offer some sacrifices for 5 entities, which we will go into later. It will come in the other shlokas, other chapters. Okay, so now what is he talking? This teaching is what is the teachings of Dharma. It is the teachings given to purify the jiva, that antakarana, what we call the sukshma sharira. A worldly person is first asked to shift his attention from artha and kama to dharma. Artha kama means wealth, material possessions, or passions and pursuits, worldly passions and pursuits, which can never satisfy you, which can never completely satisfy you, no matter how much you seek. So that person is asked to shift his attention to Dharma Purushartha, living a good life, living a what we call a good Samaritan, I think, the word for that. So Dharma forms that foundation, that for that moksha. And the one who follows Dharma, it is said that Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. The one who follows the Dharma is protected by the Dharma. Meaning the one who follows the righteous life, the correct life, he is protected by Dharma itself. So for that is why, for a common man we may say, what is that Dharma? So the dharmas is actually given according to one's varnashrama. So varnashrama means there are 4 classifications that typical traditional Indian society used to follow. And nowadays, of course, it is not followed that strictly, but there is the 4 classifications of what we call as the caste system. So it will come in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita does not actually divide by caste itself. Bhagavad Gita divides people based on their attributes and their gunas, meaning what their attributes are and their works they do. So based on their tendencies and works, a person will become a Brahmana. So what are the 4 varnas? Now Jagdish can say.
Sorry, I was mistaken. And this is the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
Very good. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These are the 4 varnas. And each of the varnas are given different dharmas. So the Brahmins are generally the ones who are the, we call the educated class, the ones who do also are entitled in traditional India to do all that pujas and all that. Then there is Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas is all these Pandavas and Kauravas. They belong to the Kshatriya clan. They are supposed to protect the people, meaning they are the ones who are the kings, the rulers. Their duty is to protect the people. So that's why, if necessary, they have to fight the war. They have to fight in the wars. And then there is Vaishya. What is Vaishya? These are the people who are uh, business people, traders. So this even today we see, right, the Vaishya class. So these are the traders in the societies, the ones who are doing businesses. And then the last one is Shudra. Shudras meaning literally people who are more interested in manual labor, physical work, or workers of any kind, we can say. So there are different duties for each of them. So in traditional India, this was not considered so much like looking down upon somebody. It was more like I'm talking of the higher in India, the original Vedic thing. It was their personality and attributes. But later on, what happened? The certain classes started creating this division. So the Brahmin, Kshatriyas, and all that became this strong, and that is the why the later on the Buddhism and Jainism came in India, because these classes had become superior. They had kind of taken control over a lot of things, and so the spiritual teachings was not given to most other people. So education was not there, so we didn't get that. So later on, when Buddha and Mahavira and others came, they said we will not follow this because this is not. So ultimately, what happened with that is, although they took the essence of the Vedic teaching, they took that all these principles are there in them, karma and all that is still there in all those teachings also. And also the highest pointers of Vedanta, we say, was also given by Buddha and others. So that pointers were there. But now what happened is they kind of threw that baby with that bathwater, as we say. So that is why, in order to reset that, Shankaracharya comes and he has re-established this. So anyway, that is not the main point here. Dharma. When we talk about dharma, there is a subcategory called as Svadharma. Dharma and Svadharma. So literally when we say Svadharma, it means one's duty. So what is one's duty? In traditional Indian Varnashrama, it was very easy. If you are a Kshatriya, your duty is to fight wars or protect the nation, protect the subjects. If you are a Brahmin, then you have to, uphold the Shastras. You have to pass the teachings of the Shastras to the people, and especially to the king. So the kings always respected the Brahmins because they are the ones who gave them the guidance, how to lead the society, how the society has to be balanced according to the Shastras. So all this is based on varnashrama, the duties. But today's society, that varnashrama is very confusing, right? Nobody, one person will, a person born in a Brahmin family may be doing some business. Like we say, even sometimes a priest, among the priests also, sometimes there are priests who are business-minded priests. So there are some who are very business people, but they are more like Brahmins also sometimes. So they are so all this has gotten very mixed. So there is no strict classification like that. We cannot say, but our aptitude we have to go by. What is my personal aptitude? So that becomes my dharma, meaning our personality, our inclination, our if somebody is more interested in business and in trade and all that, and even though he's born that, he should follow that as his passion or his work. What you are naturally inclined towards. It will come later in the 70, in the, I think, the 18th chapter. It will be mentioned. The swabhava. One should follow one's swabhava. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat svanushthitat. Swabhava nityam karma kurvan napnoti kil visham, it is said. It is greater to do one's duty than doing anyone else's duty, because when you are following your natural inclination, if you're an artist person, so you should try to follow the artistic tendency in you. So that is a ideal, how the Shastras guide people in their work life, in their career life. Okay, so that is the point. Now let us look at the shlokas, where now we will go through the shlokas quickly, because these shlokas will be talking about the dharma. What is a dharma of Kshatriya? What is a dharma of Kshatriya means we will have to look what is our dharma. So the Kshatriya's dharma is to fight the battle. Even if he gets killed or he kills, it doesn't matter, because he's doing his duty. If he doesn't do his duty, then what happens? He's violating the Svadharma, violating the Dharma, and then he will incur sin. So this is where, it is said many times, we say, if I don't do something, then it's okay, because I'm not harming, I'm not creating, I'm not going to get sin out of it. So if you don't do something, also that sin will come. Just like how if you don't take bath for many days, right? The dirt of will gather on with your body. So similarly, the rightful duties one is supposed to do, you have to do. Okay, so let us look at these shlokas. We can just chant them. So we will look from the shloka 31 onwards. Those of you who have the shlokas can refer to that. Okay. So let us now look until, starting from shloka 31 to up to 37, we will chant. So all of you try to do your best and chant after me. Shloka number 31, please repeat after me. Swadharmamapi chavekshya
Swadharmamapi cha vekshya
navikampitumarhasi
navikampitumarhasi
dharmyadhiyuddhat shreyoonyat
dharmyadhyuddhashreyoonyat
kshatriyasya na vidyate
kshatriyasya na vidyate
yadrichaya chopapannam
yadruschaya chopapannam
swargadvaramapavritam
swargadvaramapavritam
sukhinah kshatriyah partha
sukhinah kshatriyah partha
labante yuddhamidrisham
labante yuddhamidrisham
atha chetvamimam dharmyam
atha chetvamimam dharmyam
sangramanna karishyati yashi
sangramanna karishyati
na karishyasi. Tata swadharmam kirtincha
Tata
ततः
swadharmam
स्वधर्मं
kirtim cha
कीर्तिं च
hitva papamavapsyasi.
हित्वा
papamavapsyasi.
मामवाप्स्यसि
Akirtinchapi bhutani
अकीर्तिं
Akirtim
चापि
chapi
भूतानि
bhutani
katayishyanti te vyayam.
कथयिष्यन्ति
katayishyanti
ते
te
व्ययाम्
vyayam.
Sambhavitasya cha kirtir
सम्भावितस्य च
Sambhavitasya
कीर्तिः
maranadati richyati.
मरण
Richyate.
maranadatirichyate.
Let us do again. Maranadati richyate.
मरणादतिरिच्यते
Maranadatirichyate.
Vayadranaduparatam.
भयाद्रणादु परन्तम्
Vayadranaduparatam.
Mamsyante tvam maharataha.
Mamsyante
मन्स्यन्ते त्वां
tvam
महारथाः
maharataha.
Yeshain cha tvam bahumato.
येषां च
Yesham
त्वं
cha
बहुमतो
bahamato.
Bhutva yasyasi lagavam.
भूत्वा
Bhutva
यास्यसि
yasyasi
लाघवम्
laghavam.
Do two more shlokas. Avachyavadancha bahun.
अवाच्यवादां
Avachyavadam
भून्
bahun.
Vadishyanti tavahitaha.
वदिष्यन्ति
Vadishyanti
स्वाहिताः
tvahitaha.
Nindantastava samartyan.
Nindantava samarthyan.
निन्दन्तस्तवसामर्थ्यं
Tato dukkatarannu kim.
Tato
ततो दुःखतरं
dukkatarannukim.
किम्
Ato va prapsyasi swargyan.
अतो वा
Ato
प्राप्स्यसि
va prapsyasi
स्वर्गम्
swargam.
Chitva va bhokshyase mahim.
जित्वा
Jitva
वा
va
भोक्ष्यसे
bhoksyase
महीम्
mahim.
Tasmaduttishta kaunteya.
Tasmadistishya
कौन्तेय
Yuddhaya krita nischayah.
युद्धाय
Yuddhaya
निश्चयः
nishchayah.
Okay, so now he's going to this all these slokas we will quickly look at it. So he's talking about the Svadharma. See, it starts with the Svadharma, this shloka. Svadharma, as I had already explained briefly, Svadharma means one's own duties in life, one's responsibilities, one's tasks, the fulfilling, we say sometimes one's inner calling, we say, right? Like going after what one is worldly wanting to pursue. That is Swadharma. So every person has right, and they should. That is part of their duty to go after what is their duties. So now he says Swadharma apichave apekshya. Looking at your own dharma. Being established in one's own dharma. Now we come to mar arhasi. You should not waver, meaning you should not shift from what you have to do. You have come here to fight the battle. You have come here to kill all the Kauravas. So now you should not waver because that is your duty. Dharmyad yuddhat Sharmyad yudhyat kshatriyasya anyat shreyah na vidyate. So for a kshatriya, there is no greater thing than fighting a righteous battle. So dharmyad yudhya, not any war, a correct war, a righteous war, a war that you have to fight, because you are a kshatriya. That is your duty. You cannot, there is nothing higher for you than that. Then the next mantra says, Partha yedritchaya upapannam cha apavrutam Swargadvara idrisham yuddham sukinaha kshatriya labhante. So he says that yadrichaya upapannam. This fight is not something you went after. No, you are not asking to fight with that person. You are not asking to. You're not interested in just fighting for fighting sakes. You're not like a boxer or somebody who wants to fight and become a champion. This fight came upon you. You didn't go seeking after it because the Pandavas said that just give me 5 villages and we will be happy. That also he was not willing to give. So then what? Then you have to do what is right. So that is what he's saying. You didn't seek after it, it came unsought. So now what happens when it comes unsought? It is the opening for Swarga Dwara, meaning it is opening for heavens. We say the traveling of the Jiva, right? So even if that person dies doing his duty, then what happens? He goes to Swarga, meaning he goes to a higher land. He will not come back to the earth right away, at least. He will go to a the door of heavens have opened up to you without you seeking it. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyati tata swadharma kirtincha hitva papam avapsyasi. So he says, atha chet, if you refuse to fight this, if you do not follow your dharma, if you say that I will not follow my dharma, then what happens? Not only will you incur sin, because when you don't follow the dharma, you'll incur sin according to this law of dharma and adharma. It is like that. Somebody who has got bad karma in this life is because we say they did something bad. So that not just this life, it is not that literal, but generally we say, right? So all of us have some stock of bad karmas. So that is why we are still struggling, we are still in this world, and we are experiencing suffering, sorrow, and all because of that. Not just last life, some life, knowingly, unknowingly, we might have done. So that will incur sin. So I will not explain so much about the law of karma here, but some that most of you are familiar with it. Not just that, in the worldly life, what will happen? You will say, okay, I don't care about the next life. I don't care for future life. I'm only concerned about this life. So then also your kirti, your honor, your reputation will also go. Akirtin chapi bhutani katayishyansi te vyayam. So all the peoples, all the beings, or everyone in this world, they will look down on you. They will not give you that honor. They will not respect you. See, we say some people who have, some judges or some politicians who have done a lot for the society. They've lived a honorable life. They are never subject to corruption. So when they die, so many people turn up for this one, right? Because they have done so much to the world. So, but if you have not done that, then everybody will criticize you, right? So a unlawful person, a person who is taking like wrong kind of bribes and all that, that person is only friend to those who needs the work done only for that period. There is no true respect for such a person, one who is not following the righteous life. So that is why he's saying it is worse than death. So a life where you are not following the dharma, he says that, for one who has been disgrace is worse than death. Akirti marana dati richyate. It is worse than death, he says. And then what happens? If Arjuna were to say, but how is that possible? I am leaving this battle because I feel for these people. I'm doing out of compassion. So then Krishna says, if you think like that, Bhaya Drana Duparatam Mamsyante Tvam Maharataha. All these Maharatas, all these Kauravas, Karna, Duryodhana, all that, they will not think that you did that out of compassion. They will think you did that out of fear. They will only say that Arjuna ran the battle because of fear. He was afraid to fight that war. They hold you in high esteem even as an enemy. See, like if you are a great sports person, right? Your rivals will have respect for you even as a rival, because they know that you are a threat, you are a great this one. So inwardly they respect such people. So similarly, inwardly all these people respect Arjuna, but now they think you are a you are a failure, and you're afraid to fight them. They all that they thought of you will be gone. And then this says avachya vadhanscha bahun. Vadishyanti tavahitaha. They will all, many, they will speak negatively of you. Nindantastava samarthyam. Your capabilities, they will criticize, they will look down upon your abilities. Like as we were talking, right? Arjuna had a natural inclination to archery. So that was his swabhava. His was an outpouring. So he should do something for himself and for the world using that talent he had. Tatho dukkataram nukim. What could be more painful than that? People criticizing, looking down, disrespecting. See, for a sadhaka, for a spiritual person, you don't care whether people look down upon you as long as you are doing the right thing, you are seeking the thing. But for a person in the world who is trying to live a righteous life, right? The reputation is very important. So all of us who are, all of you who are working and employed somewhere or doing your own work, important thing is that you should have a respectable life. That is the point we can take away from this for all of us. Hato va prapsyase swargam jitva va bokshase mahin. So even if you die in this war, you will go to heaven. And if you win in this war, you will get more fame. So both ways, whether you die or you live, you kill all of them. Tasmad uttishta kaunteya. So this is the battle cry that Krishna will repeatedly keep telling Arjuna. Tasmad uttishta kaunteya. And he's telling all of us, wake up, as it is said in the Uttishta, in our Katopanishad, it comes. That arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached or until you go to your guru. So here is a Tatsmad Uttishta Kaunteya Yuddhaya Krita Nischaya. Resolve clearly in your mind. Don't be divided. Don't be conflicted in your mind. Go ahead and fight the battle. So we will look at it next class a little deeper. But some mananam questions to ask ourselves. What are the duties in our life that we consider are unfair? Sometimes we start criticizing, thinking this is not my duties. So we should all reflect, what is my Svadharma? And when duties come, we feel somewhat it is not right. It is not always going to be pleasant, right? Duties will be unpleasant sometimes. So how do I take that? Isn't it better that I learn to do all my life given duties with an accepting attitude rather than a complaining attitude? And to ask ourselves constantly. So this Swadharma we will discuss again. It is not like it is fixed for life. Like we said, Varnashrama, a Kshatriya is a Kshatriya. So later on, Lord will say, when you become more purified, you can even leave your duties, meaning you can follow what is right at a certain time. Like that, if you look at the ashrama dharmas, somebody who is a grihastha, at some stage he can become a vanaprastha, meaning he can retire from worldly activities. Not like you have to keep working. You have to retire and seek the self knowledge or divine knowledge. So that will change. And of course, for a devotee, the Lord says, Sarvadharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all your duties for me. So at this point in my life, my present life, ashrama and responsibilities, what are my duties? That is what we have to keep asking. And how do I embrace my dharma with the changing times? So in today's context, what is the dharma? Okay, we will look at it next class. I've gone over time. In case anybody has any questions, we can just first address it. This topic of Swadharma is quite big. It is usually many questions will keep coming. What is my dharma? What is my duty? So each person constantly, not constantly, at selective periods in our life, we have to ask this question: what is my duty in life? Any questions, comments people have?
Swami,
Swamiji,
Yes, Flavia, tell me.
to follow the Swadharma is essential for moksha.
This is a key question. So it is yes and no. So yes, because if we are not qualified, if we don't still have uh, proper spiritual understanding and training, then that Swadharma is important to follow for moksha. Because without doing your Swadharma, you will not have the necessary merit to go forward in your spiritual life. But what happens, this is what I was saying. For a person who has come to that highest level, then he doesn't need to follow any dharma as in the letter of the law. He will have to follow what is called the spirit of the law. Meaning he will naturally follow, meaning it is not like he has to be like a person who is realized, who is meaning very high capable, we say sometimes mahatmas, like sannyasis, or those, not just sannyasis, some spiritual sadhakas who are very highly progressed in their sadhana. For them, they don't have to follow the letter of the law. They are free to even give up. See, this is again, like when people take sannyasa, they give up all their duties and they leave. So then they are entitled, they don't have to follow that dharma at that point. But again, it is not a call we can take very easily. Like we cannot say that definitively that Swadharma is not necessary for moksha. It is depends on that sadhaka. But the more important question to ask ourselves is, what is my Swadharma? That is a more tricky question usually for each one.
Guruji, in this
Yeah.
sutra, in verse number 32, in my translation, it says something like in the final part of the verse. So the verse says something like, "Fortunate are the kshatriyas who get such an unsolicited opportunity for war, which is an open gateway to heaven."
Yes.
This is referring to heaven as like a place of passage of the soul to another life, and therefore war is being glorified.
Yeah, so it is said that all people who die in the war, meaning if they're doing their duties and they die, whether they are even from the Kaurava side, meaning on the enemy's wrong side also, if they are just doing their duty, they will all go to heaven. But this heaven, as we know, it is not moksha. Meaning it is a higher life. It is a higher life than the worldly life. Was that your question, Swarga Dwara? Yeah, so this, what it is saying here is that, see, the word says, Yadrichaya Chopapanam Swarga Dwara, that door to heaven, Apavrutam. It will open up, that door will open up. And so Sukhina Kshatriya, that Kshatriya who fights is meaning he's Sukhi, he's fortunate, meaning he's been like he's given an open ticket kind of thing, meaning if he dies. So even, all these people, we say people who are fighting in the war front, even today's context, if you take, whether they're fighting on the right side or wrong side, a soldier is soldier, right? He's doing his duty. He doesn't know that my thing will, this one, whether they're right or no. He's doing his duty. So if he dies in the battlefield, so he will go to heaven, meaning they will get a respite from the samsara.
Somehow it doesn't seem very fair in today's context, but
It doesn't.
I get it.
Yeah. So, but see, we are not talking of the ones who are commanders. This is very important thing. Not the decision makers. It is the person who is employed to, or who has given his loyalty to that thing. Of course, sometimes very sensitive minded people are also exempted from fighting that war. People who are very sensitive, they don't necessarily have to follow that because they are capable for a higher calling. So if somebody feels, my country is doing a wrong thing and I will walk away, all that. So if he's very sensitive, spiritually minded, and that kind of decision, conscience is awakening. So that is okay. But a person who fights dying, he's just doing his duty. See, he is just doing his duty. He doesn't have any, what do you call, like it is not justifiable to put that wrongdoing of his general on him. So this is why the Shastra says that the law of nature or the God's law is such that a person who is fighting that battle will go to heaven. Meaning has a duty, if he's doing his duty. He will mention this again also a couple of times. This point. Okay. We will briefly go through this slokas a bit more again, some points from this in the next class. But most important thing here is that the teaching here is not at the level of Atma for seeking moksha. The teaching here is for every common man. See, this is why we say, Bhagavad Gita is both Dharma Shastra and Moksha Shastra. But it is not Dharma Shastra in the sense of just giving you a set of right and wrong. It is Dharma Shastra to help you to go to moksha. So it is giving you enough training and enough preparation. So so this is why we say, many times the person who is studying Bhagavad Gita, even if they are incompetent to directly study the high texts of Upanishads, by studying and following Gita, they will cover both Dharma and Moksha. But Upanishad, sometimes a person is not qualified and he gets all that thing, but his daily life, he doesn't live it. He lives a very reckless life. So then what happens? That knowledge will not stay with him. But Bhagavad Gita is not like that. It will prepare you holistically. Okay, we will look at next class, any further things. So again, today being lunar eclipse, use the time to do some meditation, japa, before you go to sleep, and so that we live in a world and this environmental influences are there, so we have to also protect ourselves. Okay, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, Om Namo Narayana.